everybody, it's Claire. Welcome to a tutorial, my first tutorial with Faber Castell Polychromos Pencils. A few of you might have seen this double spread from Ivy and the Inky Butterfly that I posted a little while ago, and a lot of you have expressed an interest in having a tutorial on the red dahlia flowers. So what I've thought I'd do is just reference this finished piece, and then we'll go to my practice book and I'll show you what I did to complete those. So if I just move this out of the way. And here's the practice book. And what I will do is I will zoom in because we're going to be doing this dahlia here. So I will zoom in, move the book so you can see that a little bit better. So as I say, it's this one that we'll be doing here. Okay, so the Faber Castell Polychromos pencils I've got out to use today, and I'll read them out for you, but I will list them in the tutorial, is black, which is pencil 199. Then we have, going from dark to light, we have a caput mortuum violet, excuse my phrasing if that's not correct, 263. Then we've got red violet at 194. We have dark red 225. We have middle cadmium red 217. We have alazarin crimson 226. We have deep scarlet red 219. Pale geranium lake, which is 121, and then the lightest of the shades that I've got out today is Scarlet Red, which is 118 that I can see on the pencil. So what we're going to do is we're going to work from dark to light, and I'm going to put in the shading and the shadows, the darkest shading first, which is where I've been starting with these pencils. And what I'm also going to get out quickly from my box is my crimson colour. And I'll tell you why I'm using this in a minute. So crimson 134 and blue violet, because we're going to do the inner of that dahlia first, which we've just got a slightly pinker and purpley colours for. So yes, blue violet 137. And I'm just going to check that you can still see that okay. So as I say, it's this one. I'll just move my book down a little tiny bit so that it's more in the centre for you like that. That's probably a little bit better. Yeah, and apologies if you can hear Freckle in the background. He's being a little bit noisy today. Okay. Right, let me get my pencils out of the way. So we're going to start with the inner. So we're going to start with the bud of the dahlia flower that hasn't quite opened yet. And as I say, we've picked out blacks and reds, but I want to do this inner in the purple and pink colours that I've picked out, because it just gives the appearance of red buds that haven't opened yet. So we're going to start with, so I've got the three colours in my hand for the bud. I've got the crimson, the blue violet and the black. And I'm just going to, as I say, work from dark to light. And I've got the black pencil in my hand. And think about light, think about shade, think about where the deepest shadows of the flower would be. So clearly in the middle of the flower is where the least light would penetrate through, especially where the other petals are curled up around it. You would expect less light to get in, and therefore that would be where your darkest shadows fall. So I'm going to start with my black, and just at the base of this bud that hasn't opened, just with a medium light hand, so I'm not pressing firmly, just a medium light hand, in these crevices, for want of a better word, I'm just going to lay down some black. And I found that unlike Prismacolors, the lighter that you use these, the better that they blend. But still, to get a decent shading, I'm pressing medium firm. So not light, not hard, just a medium pressure on the page. Like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blue violet, which is purple, and I'm going to work up over. So for each of these little segments, again thinking about the shadow, I'm just going to do myself another little layer and meld it into the black. Now these pencils are really good for blending, and right throughout this tutorial I won't be using a blender pencil, because if you get the right pressure on the paper, these pencil colours will be deep and rich and will blend together on their own. So just like that. And then what we're going to do is, well, I've still got the purple pencil in my hand, I'm just going to do an outline on the inside of these little segments like this. Again, just medium pressure, like that. And leaving a little gap in the middle that we will fill with the pink, which will give the hint of the unopened red dahlia flower petals. Like that. Okay, so we're going to take the pink, which is crimson. Now I know crimson's usually red, and this Faber Castell is definitely on the side of pink, but hey, it's Faber Castell, let's go with their colour denominations. So I've got crimson, and all I'm going to do is, again, medium firm hand, just go over the very middle, just to give those little unopened petals a nice highlight, like that. And then what we'll do is, we'll just quickly go back to that purple colour and just go over, gently, gently, the melding with that pink and black as well, just so that we've got a little bit of a deeper colour. Pressing slightly firmer, but not a lot, like that. And that's the inside of our flower done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the same principle. We're going to work from dark to light, but I'm going to use the blacks and the reds. So I can put my pink and purple pencils away. I'm going to start with black. Now in exactly the same way, we're going to work out from black to the lightest of reds, which will be on these, the furthest tips, and also where the leaves curl up and are facing towards you, that would catch the light more as well. So we're going to do these little pieces in a very light red as well. But in the middle, where least light would fall, I'm going to start with my black. So at the base of these inner petals, just thinking about where the light wouldn't penetrate as much. And it'll give a more realistic effect than just plain old red. So for each of these petals, we're just going to put a medium firm layer of black on the bottom. I'm just going to check you're still in shot. Yes, you are. Just at the very bottoms of the petals, each little individual petal. And then I think what I'll do is, this one that's not as far out, we'll give that a little tiny bit of black. Like that. All the way around. And what I think is this one here that's curled up, that inside bit would have shadow. And these three at the very bottom, which would be at the bottom of the plant under the rest of that flower head. And then what we'll do is, for the base of the other petals, we'll just use dark reds and then work up. But if you've got blacks in the middle, it'll give you a really nice shadow effect. Okay, so we can put the black pencil down. We are going to use a very dark red, the Caput Mortuum Violet. And again, just give ourselves a millimetre or so and blending into the black. Just go over with a medium firm hand. And you're going to just do exactly the same with all the colours and build up and build up and build up until you've got the lightest colour at the very outer edges. So everywhere where you've put a black base, we're just going to put a little bit of this very, very deep burgundy colour. It's almost like a burnt burgundy colour. Like that. just a millimetre or so. So going over into the black slightly to blend into it. Like that. And that, what we'll do is, on the petals that are slightly further out, instead of having the black base, because they are further out, they still would be in shadow at the base, but we'll just use this darker red on a couple. So it'll still give the shadow effect, but it'll be on petals that are further out, if you like, which mean it wouldn't be quite as dark at the base. Like that. Have I got them all? I think I have. It's probably a good idea. What I found was, when I was doing the piece that I completed, and I'm putting this pencil down now, is to pick a petal. So I'm going to pick this one here that's sticking up at around 3 o'clock, and then you know that when you go round, you've kind of done them all, and that's where you started. Because when the shades are quite similar, it's good to have a trigger point of where you started your next shade up, so that you just know where you've started and you finished. Otherwise I was getting quite confused as to which shading I'd put on which petal and which I hadn't. So we are now on to red violet, and we're going to do exactly the same. Again, just going over that previous colour and then adding a millimetre or so. And I know it's painstaking, but it will pay off, because you will have lots of lovely shades that will give you a really nice velvet effect. These ones can be completed, these little short ones at the back with this colour. And just work around all of them like that, building and building and building that lighter shade. So you're going over the previous one slightly, medium firm hand, and then roughly about a millimetre, which sounds a small amount, and it is. But as I say, it'll give you a really nice detailed effect. You can see already that we're starting to get shade and shadow and form and colour, and it's actually quite an easy technique to use. You just have to remember which petals you've done and which you haven't. I'm just tending to work clockwise. Sorry, yes, anti-clockwise. And we'll just put a little bit of the base of this to start off these outer leaves. That one. Like that. And we're going to leave these ones that are curled up at the end, we're going to leave right till the end, because I want them to be highlighted, because they're sticking up and coming towards you. They would have the most highlight on them. So we're going to leave that till the very end with the really nice light colour reds. Just checking I've managed to get all of them. Yes, I have, so I can put that colour down. Now we're going to go to dark red, which is a really nice, deep, dark, rich red. Again, I'm going to start on this petal here so that I know where I've got to. And just do exactly the same. Just build up and build up and build up. And the contrast when you've finished between the light and the dark, as I say, will give you that really nice, realistic effect. And the inner petals you'll finish first, because they're shorter and they're darker. And the outer petals are the ones which will get the most of the lighter shades. So again, just medium firm. Medium firm, you can see these are blending easily without a blender pencil. As long as you're getting the right pressure on the page, you shouldn't need one. Just making sure that we get all of the petals. Like that. Okay. Now I can put this one down. And we go to our next lighter shade, which is middle cadmium red. Again, I'm going to start on this petal. exactly the same thing. I'm going to leave that one that's facing towards me for a slightly lighter shade. That one will get finished in this shade. You just got to be patient, and the more patient you are with the more variant of the colours that you've got, the more realistic it will be. Because when you actually study and research plants online, the individual petals vary so much with the shades of the different colours that's in them. So the more detail that you put in the variants of your shading, the more realistic it will be than just block colouring. So I know a millimetre at a time is painstaking, but it will pay off. So you can see how we're just gradually getting that lovely colour of the flower. We are on alazarin crimson. Just going around. And as I say, you will finish, some of the inner ones you'll finish off with these slightly darker colours. And work your way up to the light as you get to the outside. So that one will get finished. That one will go pretty near to the end. Like that. Then we go to deep Scarlet Red. Medium firm, and I'm going to start this one off now because I've only got another 2 shades left, so I can start using the lighter ones on the basis of the curled petals. But these very outer ones I'm going to leave for the 2 lightest shades because it'll give you the greatest contrast with the darker inside. And this is exactly the same principle for all of these dahlias, the dahlias that I showed you at the start. So our second but last shade is Pale Geranium Leaf. Sorry, Pale Geranium Lake, sorry. So this will finish off. That one will finish off, as will that one. Leave the tips of those longer ones. So you can see it's a pretty easy technique, and I'm not using a blender pencil at all. It's just getting the pressure of those pencils right so that you get a rich colour, but they're not on in so much colour that you can't blend them at all. And our final one is Scarlet Red. And literally all you have to do now is just finish off these lightest pieces. And you can see how we've built that shading up to make that look so realistic that it almost looks like you've stuck petals to a page. Just finish off these ones. So you can see where those ones that are curling towards you, because we make them lighter against that dark inner, it just has a pop effect. That works really well. And that is how to colour a dahlia. As I say, this is the first time I've used Faber Castell pencils. I find this technique works for me. I know a lot of you like to layer quite a lot with them. I find that this technique is what I prefer to use. So hopefully you have found something useful that you can use in Inky and Ivy, or indeed take to any other plants that you want to colour in any books. And if you've got any questions, as usual, drop me a line. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.